God lets you fall in front of them. He lets you stumble in front of them to stand you up and lift you tall. And for me, so many times I felt like my fall was visible to everyone around me. I felt like it was in a way that everyone could know that when I fell and I fell hard. I want you to know that God will often let you fall in front of people to catch you, brace your fall, and also lift you taller in front of them. And I feel like he does that so that he can get the glory. And we know that when good things happen in our life and everything anyway, it's all God's hand, but it's also that so that he gets the glory in our lives. There's no way that you could have told me back then that the person I am today is who I would ever become. I didn't see the growth even being possible. I didn't even know the steps that I needed to take to get here. And I also did not feel like I was worthy of anything good in life at all. But I want you to know that just because you fell doesn't mean that it was a failure. Just because you fell, you got knocked down, and you were down for a little bit, does not mean that your whole life is a failure. Does not mean your life needs to be thrown in the trash. Does not mean people need to be done with you and do away with you. No. If anything, God will use your falling and your quote unquote failure as a testimony for other people who may go through the same thing or who have already going through the same thing themselves. And I don't care who you are, at some point in life, you're going to stumble. You'll fall. You're going to feel like you are at your wit's end. You're going to feel like you are to a place where you're confused and you don't know what to do. But ultimately, God uses these seasons to develop us, develop our character, and also help us to become the very person that he needs us to be to go on that next journey. Falling allows him to show his power in our life. It allows him to get the glory. It allows him to show his hand in our life. When I said that I couldn't believe who I am today, it's because God literally took my life and it did a whole 360. I went from one version of myself to a completely new identity, and I did not even know that that could even be possible. But because I came to God, I know that he will restore you. He will renew you. He will make you into something that is unrecognizable. And that's exactly what happened in my life. And so if you're looking for a transformation, if you're looking for a transition, if you're looking for something new in general, you have to know that coming to God is going to strip you of who you were or who you are currently to now bringing you to the version of yourself that God has actually called you to be and continuing forward on that journey. What I mean by that is I started one way, right? I lived my life a certain way and I didn't necessarily have that personal relationship with God. So I didn't know that the way I was living my life was incorrect. Once I started to feel like some type of way, I started to feel uncomfortable. I started to really look at my life and look at other people and how they conducted themselves. I'm like, that's something that I desire to have. Once I had the desire and I started coming to faith, I started going to church, I really didn't know that there was a such thing as a personal relationship. And over the years, it took me time to build that with God. But I understood that even during those time frames, he was stripping me little by little of the very desires and the things that I had. He was stripping me of certain relationships, certain friendships, certain characteristics, and certain habits that I had. Even my mentality, I feel like was the biggest thing that God had to work on me with because I struggled in my mind a lot mentally. I would defeat myself in my head before anything else. I overcame my battle with depression because I came to God and I allowed him to restore me and renew me in those areas. And when I say my biggest battle was in my mind, that's also my biggest testimony too, because a mental battle is something that you can't necessarily express to anyone on the outside. They might be able to see that you're dealing with something outwardly, but they may not actually know what you're going through inwardly. And for a long time, I was just very silent of the fact that I battled in my mind. I battled with myself continuously about just everything. And it was so hard to come to terms with that I was battling myself, right? But when I say that God will restore you and he will renew you, literally the version of myself that I once was is completely someone that I no longer am. I'm so grateful that who I am today is someone that I can be proud of and that I can actually be inspired and encouraged by. Like I'm inspired by my own life to see who I'm going to be in the next few years, just alone off of continuing to build my relationship with God and allowing him to work through my life, right? But when I went through my hardest seasons in life, I felt like my fall was in front of people. I felt like my fall was the loudest fall you could possibly hear. And possibly it was never actually like that. But you know, inside yourself, you think that everything is just amplified, right? But I also felt like it was a bit of embarrassment. It was a moment for me where I felt like I wanted to crawl into a shell and just hide. I wanted to start over. I wanted to find what life had for me. But I don't want you to ever feel like because your life has been expressed in a negative manner or received in a negative manner. Maybe you don't know how to deal with certain things and you're overcoming certain struggles and battles. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to go and hide yourself, or if other people know these things about you, that you have to feel bad about it, because whether you know it or not, everyone is struggling and battling with their own things, right? And whether it's visible for people to see or they deal with it behind closed doors, everyone is overcoming something with God. But I feel like God gets the glory, especially when your fall is so big and when your fall is it's so big to you, because when you overcome that and you come to God and God renews you and restores you, your life is changed completely. Who you once were is no longer who you are. And who you are today is something that you can literally be proud of when you come to God and allow Him to work through you through those situations. And I really realized through this season that I don't have to hide because of the things that I've been through. I don't have to be afraid to share my testimony or my story with other people because of the things that I've experienced. But instead, I can allow God to have His moment, His whole glorified moment, based off of the life experiences that He's given me and He saw fit for my life. So sometimes we're discouraged or we despise the life experiences that we have, but God gave you that for a reason. And before He even knew you, before He even formed you in your mother's womb, He said that your experiences were fit for your life. That's why He gave them to you. So you don't ever have to feel useless or weak in those moments. Know that God is going to use these situations. He's going to use this testimony. He's going to use your story to help encourage and uplift other people. And sometimes it can just be on a smaller level where you're having a conversation and you uplift someone. Something you say resonates with them and it uplifts them. Or it could even be on a huge, bigger scale, something you could not even think possible, where God uses you to encourage, empower, and inspire other people. And so many times I meet people where they think that their life experiences hindered them or it's a negative thing in their life. They don't think that their life could be inspiring to other people. But I want to let you know that even the people with the quote unquote worst of stories or worst life experiences possible could also be the most powerful testimony that there is. It could be the most impactful thing that someone hears, because sometimes people feel like they need that encouragement from people that they feel like they can relate to, or people that they feel like they never thought could ever have made it out of certain situations. And so whatever your situation is, allow God to turn that around. Allow God to turn the depression, the irritation, the embarrassment from these situations into something that's more empowering and inspiring to not only you, but other people as well. God will use your weakness to reveal His strength. So understand that even though you feel weak in these moments and you feel like you're at your wit's end and you don't know where to turn or where to go, just know that God has you in the palm of His hands, and that's where His strength is. And when you're weak, God is strong. And so you don't have to make a way for yourself in this moment. Come to God and know He already has a way made for you. And just remember that sometimes God will let you fall in front of these people. He will let you fall and come crashing all the way down. But His goal is to lift you so much higher. So when the fall happens, don't be discouraged. Don't be upset. Don't be embarrassed by it, because God is still going to get the glory out of the result of your life.